sometimes I get caught up in thinking, oh, I know this is the best one, and turns out it wasn't. Improving on how to make decisions on, in covering all the basics in logical reasoning. But overall, a great study plan. I do work full time. I have good hours, but I know usually when I leave work, I'm kind of exhausted, but I'd like to make the best effective use of my time for study. My goal is to take the test in June 2020. Side note, I'm looking at online law schools, AB accredited course that would accommodate my work schedule.
Right.
So any tips on that would be awesome.
Sure. I mean, we could talk over specifics of different sections, but honestly, it sounds to me like just creating a concrete study plan for you so that you can jump in smoothly and get back on track. You said you haven't touched the LSAT in about a year. And now your LSAT in June. We're speaking in mid-February. It's only about, 3.5 months away. Not a ton of time. So I want to help you carve out the time to make it happen. Because if you can't make it happen, then everything related to like the tactics and tools and strategies is pointless. So what's your work schedule like? And when do you think you might be able to carve out time to devote exclusively to the LSAT?
So I work 8:30 to 4:15, and I commute to work. So I don't know if you know about the DC, DMV area. So I take train transit. It takes me a good 45 minutes to get back out to where I live. If I'm driving, maybe 15 minutes from my train station to get home. So I can get home around 6. I can get home concretely around 6. So I would say 6:30 is a good time frame for me to study. Right now I'm dealing with a medical situation. I'm in physical therapy. But I would say 6:30 is a good time frame for me. 6:30 to about 9, I'd say, would be good.
Okay. So what I'm hearing is that you've got about an 8-hour workday, and you also have a commute each way involving a decently long train ride, 45 minutes, and then you have a bit of driving involved as well. Now, you noted the time in the evening as being a time when you could carve out for studying exclusively. What do you see as potentially getting in the way of studying in the evenings?
Primarily fatigue. That would be the biggest. Well, I'm not primarily driving. I drive to this train station, which is maybe like 10 minutes, but I guess just the alertness of needing to be, just present on the train, just making sure you're off right stop. I kind of took that for granted when I first started this position, but I do notice just the commute does take something out of me. So what would definitely help are kind of, I guess, strategies that would kind of get to the point that would mnemonics, things I know I do best with mnemonics and things like that. Something in short spurts that I could quickly move on. But something that's also effective I can work through and really feel myself progressing.
Right. Okay. Well, it sounds to me like you honestly have plenty of time that you could use to fit in studying, even aside from the evening. I mean, the 45-minute train ride each way, you could do a full timed section within that, because a timed section is 35 minutes. So you got a buffer of 5 minutes on each end. You could make that happen. And then, of course, the timer for the section is also your timer to be alert that your stop is coming up. In the car, the drive each way, you've got 10, 15 minutes. You could listen to the LSAT Unplugged podcast during that time and absorb some information. You could listen to it while you're walking to and from the train station to the car or to your office. Now, the time in the evening, you mentioned fatigue. I could certainly see that being an issue, especially because I've commuted before. It does take a toll on you, no doubt about it. What if you were to stay at work or in the vicinity of work a little bit later before you actually take the train home, so that you're studying before your commute home, not after your commute home?
So probably getting to work earlier, are you suggesting? Or
well, what I was suggesting is for the evening, after you finish your workday at around 4:30, right? So you finish your workday, you could immediately go to the train station, or you could stay at or near your office and study there before your train ride. But my idea is simply that you don't delay your studying too much, because the later into the evening you get, the more tired you are. And a lot of folks do find that once they're home, in the comfort of home, there are too many distractions, whether it's the people you live with or just all the comforts of home. So maybe you take the train home, and then before you actually enter your house or apartment, you find a coffee shop nearby. So your commute is over, but you're not physically inside your house. So that's another thing you could try.
I think that would be better because, okay, that's definitely good. I live in an apartment complex and they do have an amenities area. They have a conference room. So I think it would be good for me just to go straight there as opposed to just going into my apartment. So I think that would work.
Nice. So you could make that your study zone. And rather than studying in your apartment, you study in the amenities room, and maybe other people walk in. That's a good way to get a little bit of the distraction element simulated that you'll face on test day, where there will be other people there as well.
Right. Okay. That's definitely good.
Great. Now, you mentioned that games is the most difficult section for you, and we're getting you back into the groove of studying for the LSAT. And so you have one of my study plans, right?
I'm sorry, you took your study guides?
Yeah, do you have one of the study plans?
Oh, no, I don't.
Okay, I would suggest getting one of the study plans because they'll break down for you exactly what to be doing every single day over the course of your prep, specifically which LSAT articles to read on my site before doing the relevant practice test problems of that type. So I'll break down, do all the simplest ordering games, then the more difficult ordering games, then the easier grouping games, then the more difficult grouping games, and so on. Because you got to do them by category to better see the connections between different game types. If you're just doing timed section after timed section, it's like you're getting a grab bag. You never know what's going to come next, and it's harder to make those connections.
Okay.
So I would suggest jumping in with that. You'd probably want to get either the 3-month or the 4-month, depending on whether you want to have a buffer or not.
You said the study guide for games?
So the study plans, they start with games, then logical reasoning, then reading comprehension. So it's actually the perfect order for you, given the areas of difficulty that you mentioned earlier. What you don't want to do is just take exam after exam and measure yourself. You've got to slow down and build the foundation first.
Okay. That was pretty much the bulk of it. I know my goal is to get 160. The schools I'm looking at don't require super high scores. And like I said, online would be the best for me given my schedule. So if I can get, the 160s, high 150s, but definitely 160, I think I would be in a good place.
Awesome. Well, please keep in touch and let me know if I can help in any way as you move forward. And before we sign off, what would you say is the biggest insight you got from our call today?
Definitely breaking down the schedule. I was coming home is you're definitely right about the fatigue, and then the comfort of home, and I like the suggestion of them going to the amenities room. I do think about it, but sometimes overthinking, I know I'm definitely guilty of that. I can make things kind of harder than they are. But that's definitely a great idea because it's close to home. I don't have to worry about travel and being safe, but also I don't have the distraction. So the only thing I will have to focus on is my LSAT, and just kind of puts me in that zone of having to focus.
Awesome. Well, please keep in touch. Let me know if you need anything as you move forward. Thanks for tuning into the show. Please subscribe if you haven't done so already to be notified of new episodes as I release them. And feel free to reach out if you need anything at all as you move forward with your prep. I'm happy to help however I can. In the meantime, I'll wish you all the best and take care.